Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Dynasty3890 here. Welcome back to another MLB 18 The Show Diamond Dynasty video. Today, we're going over some diamonds that I think have the potential of getting downgrades to golds for a couple of reasons. Now, before I go any further in this video, I don't hate these players. I don't hate your favorite team if these are your favorite teams or your favorite players. I'm just giving out just scenarios where they could, in theory, go down, and it's semi-realistic that it could happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen because if they play well, because I actually think most of the cards that are diamonds, like all the cards that are diamonds, are well-deserved diamonds. I actually feel like they should be more diamonds in the game, but just in case these cards have the ability based off their ratings or based off because of how young they are, that they could get downgrades to gold. So before I go any further, like I just say, I'm not doing this because I hate your team or I hate your favorite player. I'm just saying it and I'll explain every single one in theory how it could happen. So let's get right into it, guys. So we start off with the cover boy, Aaron Judge. Now, this is an interesting one because I've mentioned in the past that young players who don't have because if you guys don't know how they calculate projections or their attributes is based off their prior 3 years. If they don't have 3 years, they just use what they have, which means it's less of a sample size, which means they can fluctuate up and down more. Like, if a young player does really well, he can get upgrades a lot sooner. If they do poorly, they can get downgrades sooner. Now, the thing with Aaron Judge is, his rookie year last year was amazing, but he had stretches where he was ridiculous, and he had stretches where he struggled. In 2016, when he got called up, he was really bad. He was like hitting 180 something. He's a very streaky hitter. So if he starts off slow, because I'm mentioning he is a streaky. Like in August last year, he really struggled. If he does that in April for like the first 4 to 6 weeks, he could, in theory, go down because he doesn't have the 3 years of playing time. So they have to use just what they have. So it's a smaller sample, which means there could be greater increases or decreases. If he gets off to a slow start, I'm not saying he will, but if he does, he could get a downgrade. And what I would say to do is, if he ever does go to gold, I would buy him while he's a gold because, like I said, he's streaky. For every bad, he has a good. He would then, in theory, go have another hot stretch, get back up to a diamond, rarity becomes higher, or lower, I guess he'd be more rare, and his value would go up. So keep that in mind. I'm not saying sell your Judges. I'm just saying if he gets off to a slow start, he could get downgraded. Now, there is the whole aspect of he's the cover boy. He's a cover athlete. Will they downgrade the cover athlete? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. That's a very good question. But all I'm saying is just keep an eye out on that, guys. Aaron Judge is a streaky hitter. When he's on, he's amazing. When he's struggling, he really struggles. And if he's struggling at the beginning of the year, could they downgrade him? They could. They could definitely downgrade him. If they downgrade that contact a little bit, he's an 84. And then he'll become a lot more common in packs because golds are more common than diamonds. And at that point, if you don't have him, I would recommend buying him, wait for him to go to diamond because I think he'd get hot again, go to diamond, and then sell him. I'm not saying I hate him, guys. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying how that could realistically happen. He could have a great first month and then he gets a boost to an 88, 89. That could happen too. So just keep that in mind. But there's the first one, Aaron Judge. Now, this one I feel like is the most realistic guy to get downgraded. I don't think it's a high probability, but it just makes sense. He's 38. It's Adrian Beltre. Now, he had a great year last year. I don't know. Like, eventually, when players get old, they get old fast. It doesn't happen gradually most of the time. Most of the time, it's you're old. You can't catch up to stuff anymore. You can't hit the fastball anymore. Your feeling's not the same anymore. You can't move the same anymore. You get those little small injuries that may not put you on the DL, but they make you they zap some of your power in your swing, or you just can't do what you normally do when you get older. Like, that stuff happens. And he's only an 85, so if he gets downgraded 1 point overall, he's a gold card. And just him being 38, that's the only reason. Like, if Adrian Beltre did what he did last year at 33, and I wouldn't be putting this out here, but because he's 38, I'd be so wary of him just age finally catching up to Beltre. Now, if he gets like injured where he's on the disabled list, they normally don't downgrade cards who are on the disabled list. But if you're hurt with like an injury but you play every day, like Miguel Cabrera did the last couple years, but he's getting older, and that's kind of what happens when players get older. They get those small little injuries all the time. But he played through it, and what happened was his card went down in overall because he was an active player. So this is just a card to be wary of. just because of his age. Now, he may still play incredibly well because he has been. There's been no sign of it. But like I mentioned with older players, you don't really not always need a sign. Like, it can just come out of nowhere and then just age catches up to you. So just keep that in mind if you have an Adrian Beltre. You're thinking about buying him. Maybe wait a little bit of time unless you really want to get that collection done for the Rangers. He's the only diamond on it. He may go down in price. So just keep that in mind, boys. Next up we have is Charlie Blackmon. Now, this is an interesting one because he has been amazing the last 2 years. He's kind of had he was a really good player, and then the last couple years he's turned to an elite hitter. But if you look on the top right, he has diamond hitting and bronze fielding, and that's where the worrisome, where I'm worried about him potentially getting downgraded. He doesn't have fielding to save him. What I'm saying is, if he struggles hitting for a while, the fielding attributes won't keep him a diamond. If he struggles hitting and he's hitting 240 on May 15th with 3 home runs, they're gonna downgrade his contact and his power. His fielding won't be able to hold him up. He's a gold card. So, and like I said, the last 2 years has really been the power and the average. Before he was always a 300 hitter, but not a ton of power. In the last couple years, he's hit around 25 to 35 home runs. So the power is there, but if he doesn't hit for power or he doesn't hit for average, he doesn't have the fielding saving him. Now, if he hits like he has been hitting the last couple years, it doesn't matter. He'll probably get an upgrade, maybe increase some power for him, or maybe even increase contact a little bit. Now they have 125 stats. But if he struggles, he doesn't have the fielding to save him, and that's what I'm saying about this card. Or there's a couple other cards that have this where they have low fielding but high hitting. They need a hit. If they don't hit, they don't have the fielding to keep them a diamond. So keep that in mind, guys. And this is Blackmon, just an example, because he's only an 85. So if he struggles hitting, I could see him getting a downgrade. But if he hits like he has been hitting, you don't have to worry about it. Just keep that in mind. But if he does struggle, he doesn't have the fielding to save his overall. Lastly, guys, we have Justin Turner. Now, this is an interesting scenario because he is currently on the disabled list. And like I said, they normally don't downgrade guys who are on the disabled list. But if they're injured but they play every day, they could downgrade them. And he's a lot like Blackmon, that his fielding is only a bronze, but he has great hitting. And the hitting is making him a diamond. The fielding is actually hurting him. And I am just worried about Turner because I know what happens with wrist injuries. You don't have the power that you did have. You're not going to be the same power hitter. And or even just hitting the ball as hard. It's not just oh, you have you're coming back from a wrist injury, you're then all of a sudden gonna just you're still gonna hit your 320. Your home runs and doubles are gonna go a bit down. No, your average will go down too because you're not gonna hit the ball as hard. I've seen it so many times. I'm a Red Sox fan. I know Nomar Garciaparra. This is an example from a while ago. He got hit by a pitch on the wrist. He literally was never the same hitter. This was back in 2002. He was never the same hitter. Xander Bogaerts last year, I know another Red Sox shortstop, he had no power. He hit 10 home runs last year. He was dealing with a wrist injury the whole year. And I know when Turner comes back, that could be a major issue. And then all of a sudden, he's going to struggle hitting. He doesn't have the fielding to keep his overall up there, and he's going down. I'm almost certain that's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong, because I like Turner. I like the fact that he kind of came out of nothing and turned into a great player. But I'm just worrisome of that happening. Now, it's not going to happen probably for a month or so you don't have to worry about it now. But once he comes back, I don't expect Justin Turner to be the same Justin Turner he was last year because of the injury. He should come back around the end of April, beginning of May, barring any setbacks. I think they said a 4 to 6 week recovery. So barring any setbacks, that's right around the beginning of May. And at that time, he may struggle in a couple weeks from then. If he's really struggling, I think he might, just because of the nature of the injury that he had, they could bring him down. So just keep that in mind. So this is just, guys, a couple cards I mentioned of diamonds that could go down to gold. And if you see any cards in the future that, how I'm mentioning these things, a younger player or a guy that only really has, some players have great fielding and their hitting doesn't really carry them. Well, if their hitting goes down, that's going to bring it down, or vice versa. Keep that in mind. It's going to help you figure out cards that could get downgraded. If you did enjoy this video, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and I'll talk to you later, boys. Take it easy. Peace.